Hi, welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and fresh off getting back from PowerCon 2023, I have a bunch of pickups. And first, we're going to start off with the Valaverse Action Force Swarm Horde. Now, this is the PowerCon exclusive for 2023, so you can pick it up either at PowerCon, which will be over shortly, and by the time you see this, it will be over, or you can pick it up on their website. It is $45. It's 2 per person. I only picked up one because I only need one. But here we're finally going to get everything that the Swarm and the Scarabs are supposed to come with, or I don't know if they're supposed to, but you know, you get the figure, and then you actually get the wings that go with it to make them fly. So quickly, we'll look at the figure. Now, again, PowerCon, you would think that Valaverse, he makes sense to be over at Joe Fest. Doesn't make a lot of sense to be over at PowerCon when it's more of a mythical, Master of the Universe. So what he did was he actually made it the Horde colors, and we'll take a look at Hordak quickly when we're after we open them up. But the color scheme, I think, looks really, really nice. Again, this is another repaint of the Scarab and the Swarm and the Swarm Sentry, and there's a bunch of the Wasp Raider. But again, repaints, again, we all complain about them, but there is a reason for them. The army builders, they just look really, really nice. So it does have a new head. I'll have a better look at it once we open it up. You get your wings, you got your rifle, you got your pistol. This is the same stuff that comes with all of the Swarm and the Scarab figures. Actually, one of them comes with a different type of rifle. I don't know, I'm getting confused. You've seen some of these figures, you start to get them confused. Anyway, you can see all the hands, you can see the shield, you can see the display stand there. So, and then on the side there, you can see what it looks like. It's also right there, so they put together. So if you did buy 2, you can put them together and you can actually see what it looks like. Here you have your file card, all the Swarm figures on the back, and 5 action points. So, again, these are just covert op figures, intelligence, special forces. Anyway, no more looking at me. Let's take a look at this. We're going to compare them to the Swarm and the Scarab. We're going to compare them to the different colors of Hordak, and then I'm going to kind of mention what I think they might be able to do, so you can kind of leave this as an exclusive for the people that purchased it either through Valaverse at the time or picked it up at PowerCon, where people can still get something like this, but maybe a little bit different color variant. So, but before I finish, take a second. If you like the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified anytime I do drop another Action Force Valaverse video. And I can tell you right now, there will be a bunch dropping because I got all the new weapons. So I will be discussing those and reviewing those in the days to come. Let's take a look. All right, so I got the figure out of its plastic prison. Now, a lot has changed in the year and a half since they first dropped their figures. I think it's been a year and a half, 2 years, I mean. Lots have changed since 2 years since they first got it. There's no longer that plastic shield, which most people never understood over it, which I thought, if you were an inbox collector, it caused a glare. This, I believe, is their first why do I want to say special edition? Deluxe figure box, so you can see that it is bigger. You know what? I'm over these big boxes between them and Hasbro. So I usually do keep my boxes. There was only one tie to hold him in. Here he is. He's out. Quickly, we'll take a look at everything. So, here's the Scarab. And with this one, you're going to get the red translucent shield. Now, I do like the shield. I can't say I'm a huge fan of how you have to hold it to get it to stand straight up. You would think that this should be crossed over so it's easier to get it in a regular fighting position or blocking position. But I'm not going to really complain about it. Other than that, I think it looks really nice. It has their logo on it, the Hexastack logo. Again, translucent. I like the red. I think the red really pops. It looks really nice. You get your stand. It says Action Force, 4 different pegs, and then it has a slit for the file card. So if you are a static poser and you just want to set it here, have it back there, have the file card, you can do so, and it looks nice. Again, I do think that I do think these look nice for stuff like that, but if you're going to be posing your figures in action, in like action poses, I don't like these stands. I don't like stands to begin with, but I really don't like these because they're just too thick and bulky, and they draw attention to this rather than the figure. Here we have his Scar rifle. Again, I like the way this rifle looks. I really do. I'd never even seen it before. I thought it was a futuristic weapon. I was completely wrong. I am not a weapons guy. But I just love that on all of them, he has a little bit of paint on it that matches the figure. And if you have the black and white one from some of the, God, I forget what release it is, it really goes well with your shield agents that Hasbro sells. Then we got his pistol, the one that Bees Battleground absolutely loves. I think he said it's probably the best sidearm weapon that he has ever seen in a military figure. I make myself laugh. And then we have the wings. So let's take a look at the wings here. Now they articulate up and then they come down. Now in the past, when these first came out, these wings were really tight. The plastic was really brittle. A lot of people were breaking them. You had to heat them up. Since the beginning, he has changed the plastic, changed certain things. Now, I don't know enough about making action figures, but I do know that he's taken everything into account. He has made most of the figures better for the most part. I think the female wave kind of regressed, but I think that was being done out of a different factory. A lot of breakage in those, it seemed. So here you have the peg for it. There's even design right here. You kind of have like this wasp stinger, although it's supposed to be the jet for the wings here, but it kind of looks like a stinger on a bee. And then just has some nice little detail to it, a little bit of paint apps, and again, make you go up and down, just like this one over here. And I will show you exactly how these Hasbro stands are absolutely perfect for this, if you use it. Here you have his knife. Again, kind of reversing here, where you have the handle silver rather than the blade, and then you have a black blade. It does look nice. I don't know, maybe on the check, these seem maybe they're not soft. They seem maybe not as sharp as, they're still sharp, as the original figures, original weapons. I'm going to check the tolerance on some of these, but they actually feel like, maybe I'm wrong. You know, these weapons tend to stay very straight. In the beginning, they were very brittle. You could break them very easily. I don't see nearly as much breakage. I never see warpage like we do with the Hasbro stuff or with some of the other figures that we might see. But they're also, like I said, they used to be very brittle. I'm not seeing that they're as brittle now. Now let's take a look at the figure, and this is really what people want to see. So let's take a look at it here. Look at the articulation. Again, T-pose, I do have a problem with. I will mention again, I absolutely hate the way the shoulders hang over. It absolutely gets not only in the way of the arms when you're trying to move it around, but it does not look normal. Now this looks fine, but when you have a figure like Trigger, where it's actually his bare, you're seeing his bare shoulders, his shoulders like hang over with this big huge gap. It just seems very strange. So you have your bicep, pinless double joints, no problems. Oops. Wrist swivels. Again, nothing being warmed up out of here. Now there are some issues doing the Jean-Claude Van Damme with some of these, and that's just because of how this rides up. So you just kind of have to move this out of the way. But just the way this is, it's not really the figure that has a problem doing the Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's just that where these straps are. So if you were to remove the belt, you'd be able to do it perfectly fine. I've dealt with enough of these figures to know exactly how they are. There you have the knees. Again, no problems at all. Oops. Unless you throw the figure. You get your thigh swivel. No boot cut. Okay? So you have the ankle rocker here, so you can still get some maneuverability, but it does impede the posing. I will say it again, no boot cut. It does take away from your posing ability. Not all that much, but it definitely does affect it. And then you have the belly dancer, and then it can swivel back and forth. Head can look down in a nice position, and then it can look up to a point. Now he's got this weird mask on, so I think it looks pretty sweet. So let's take a look at this and look at everything that we have. So get him right here. Let's pull this guy off. And what you're going to see is he is just a repaint of our Swarm figure, where Scarab, where the body is a repaint of the Scarab. He uses Bone Collector's armor, and he comes with a different rifle. So those are the two major differences. It still uses the same handgun, same sidearm, same, sorry guys, I do apologize. It's been a long couple weeks for me. Same holster on the side, which I really do love the holster. I just think it looks really cool. But the knees, legs, everything's the same. The belt is the same. The body armor and the head are the only two things that are different. Now, obviously, there's a different paint scheme, and that is the reason why you're buying this, because it is, once again, the PowerCon exclusive. So, we'll quickly take a look at it. And there you have the Hexastack design on the front right there. You got this nice red that's going to run through it, the black and the gray. Red here, you got your paint here. The back looks nice. Now, I got to say, the one thing that I can't think of really any complaints is having any issues with paint rub with any of his figures. Now, there are been some other complaints that people have had, but for the most part, the paint looks really good. Again, the joints are nice and smooth. They feel good. Let's take a look at this head here. And gotta say, it is very Masters of the Universe-ish, which is good. Now, this I actually like. Now, I have had the complaint that when you look at the Scarab, when it's pointed out, all you can see is the ball in the back because it's translucent, because there's actually not a head here. And if you look at Swarm, it's kind of the same thing. This one is hidden more because you have the helmet. This one here, with the light shining from the back, it's hard to see what's there because of how everything looks. I like the way this looks. So just looking at that, at first it kind of looks B-ish, but when you get it closer, you can kind of tell that it's more mechanical and that it's an actual helmet that's going over it. And there you have kind of like some ears that go to the back. Who knows exactly what they are. But it looks just absolutely wonderful. Everything on this design is extremely nice. So, quickly, we'll take a look at the hands. See if we can pop off the hands without heating it up. So, this hand came off extremely easy. As you can see how I popped that thing out. And we'll throw on a thumb wrestling hand. Now, the one thing you do have to make sure with the Valaverse figures is they have two different notches right there. When you do plug it in, you want to make sure it goes in all the way. Now, sometimes you do have to heat these up, especially on the earlier ones. So this one went in really nicely. It's that second pop that really holds the wrist in so it doesn't look like it's elongated and doesn't look bad. This one went in really easily. I want to say since the Special Deployment series with the male figures, they have been really nice. This plastic feels really good. Now, I never seem to have an issue. I take that back. I have had an issue where I had the leg pop off my original Swarm Trooper. That was rectified, but what I never had an issue with was tight joints on any of these figures. So, there you go. That's the quick look at this at the Swarm Horde here. Now, put the trigger finger back on here. Now, we're going to suit them up in a minute, but So what he's supposed to be is, it's the Swarm Horde. So he's supposed to have colors like Hordak, because this is a PowerCon exclusive. Now, if you don't know what PowerCon is, PowerCon was originally a Masters of the Universe convention, and kind of like Joe Fest, where Joe Fest is G.I. Joe, Hasbro doesn't want to show up. Well, Mattel no longer wants to show up to their biggest Masters of the Universe convention. It makes absolutely no sense why either company does it, but hey, you know what? That's what giant companies do. So, quickly looking at it, when you look at what kind of looks like it's a skeleton, but when you look closer, you can tell it's like more robotic. It's supposed to be the same color that Hordak's head is. It has the same red and the red accents. It has the same gray and the black. So I think it does a really, really good job. What would have been super cool is if you would have given him a crossbow, something like that. I know you want to keep it uniformed and have all the exact same weapons that came with all the other Swarm figures. But it really would have been cool to have some sort of crossbow that came with it also. Roman thought so too, if you heard that. Because we know all the Horde figures, if you're a Master Universe guy, if you're a Motu guy, they come with this crossbow. So I think that would have been pretty cool. Again, not something I'm going to really complain about, just something that I'm going to point out. I know I've said a few times, I'm not going to complain about this. It seems like you complain. It's more or less pointing stuff out. I don't really have any issues with this. All right, so let's kind of armor him up. Now, I should probably go over, I forgot to go over the hands. So he does come with 4 pairs of hands. We got the fist hands. We got the 2 thumb wrestling hands, knife hands, and then we have the C-cup hands that are used for holding weapons. Now, I don't really use these anymore. Some of my figures may have them, but for the most part, I don't really use them. As a matter of fact, this trigger has one over here, and I made myself a liar. All the figures up here have all the figures up here have them. They were on originally. What I really do now is I take either the trigger finger or the C-cup, and I actually have it hold it. I do the same thing with the classified figures. Everything is pliable enough that you pull their hand off, it actually grabs the weapon, and it looks better in my opinion. But I understand the purpose for this. This was actually a really good idea. I just don't really like doing it. So, what I did want to mention before I start armoring up, and I can kind of do this, is I think what would be a great idea, rather than restocking this figure, because this is supposed to be a PowerCon exclusive. You either get it the weekend of PowerCon or you get it at PowerCon. You have these red accents, it's great. It looks like Hordak, but rather than do that, give a Swarm, I don't call them something else. You can't really call them a Swarm Horde. That would come off wrong. But how about do a Swarm with all these colors, and rather than this richer red, do this darker burgundy red, and you can pretty much leave everything the same. Maybe you want to change this around a little bit on the head. So the people that have gone to PowerCon or ordered it the weekend of PowerCon, they feel like they're actually getting an exclusive that not just everyone can get. I know a lot of people have a problem with that, but that's kind of the reason for exclusives and it being an army builder. I like the fact that these two kind of match, but again, if I could have one where the red is closer to this, I think it looked more uniformed, and I think people would love that. Personally, I like the way this one is done just because I understand how it is a PowerCon exclusive. So if you listen to me ramble on enough, sit up there. Don't move. All right, so now let's throw on the wing pack here. Now, one thing you have to do is, let's see if you can see this because it's all dark here, is you kind of got to pull this down because the peg here, which is a longer peg, is going to go all the way through the pack and into the back. So it doesn't just hold on right there. This is what actually holds it. You can pull this down. Again, wings. I know a lot of people have wing fatigue when it comes to all these wings because of the gargoyles. I love the gargoyles. The wings aren't the problem. It is the tail. In my personal opinion. Got the knife here. Boom. The knife goes in the back. Now, I'm not a big fan of how this goes. I understand the purpose of where the knife goes and the reason for it, but when it comes to an action figure, it just kind of sticks out. And a real human being, it wouldn't stick out nearly as much because we move, we bend, we flex. These do not. So I like the idea. I just don't think that it was executed the best. Just my opinion, before anyone gets mad at me. Now, again, I'm able to open up the hand really easily. I'm going to pop this in here. Boom. And there you go. So now what I was talking about. Now, this figure here, I will say, I seem to have an issue at times. All of their figures, a lot of times when you're going across the body, because of the vests, sometimes they get in the way. And because of all the armor that's up here on the shoulders, you can only get their arms into certain spots to pose. Oops. But if you just open this up here, pull the hand open and plop it in there. Well, now it's just kind of going to sit there. And you really don't need to worry about the C-cup. It's actually going to look like it's gripping, which is what I like. All right. So there you go with that. Now, what I did mention about this here, now probably using the gripping hand would probably do best, but what we're going to do is we're just going to throw it up on the trigger hand because it's very close. And so, might have to use a C. Might need to use that gripping hand here. So my biggest issue here is that when you're holding this, because it doesn't cross over, okay, where you'd have the straps going this way, they have to hold it in this direction. So I guess it does work. You can hold it this way, but I can't really hold the shield in the up-down position the way the Alley Viper holds his. Now, I understand. I don't want to compare the two, and that's not what I'm trying to do, but the Alley Viper is how actual shields work. So I wish they would have done it the other way. I don't think it's the worst thing. I'm not going to complain. And obviously, it was not going to prevent me from picking up the figure. So, now I'm going to show you on these Hasbro flight stands. Now, if you watch anything with Marvel Legends, I want to say it's, I forget which one of them is. Not Dwight. It's one of the other two guys. They rave about these flight stands. And they are really nice. $15 for 5 of them. Well, the little jet here, that looks like the Stinger. If you just kind of pop it in like this, they hold up really, really nicely. Okay? And you don't have to clamp anything around. It works better than most jetpacks, as normally the jetpacks are just an issue. And that's it. So there you go. That is an in-depth look at the Swarm Horde PowerCon exclusive figure. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's a big mouthful there. That's what she said. Alright, so final thoughts on this Swarm Horde figure, the PowerCon exclusive, is I really do like it. Now, I use my Scarabs, my Swarm, all the bad guys from Action Force as part of Serpentor's team, because in my opinion, Serpentor is not part of Cobra, and that's what I do with my lore. You can do whatever you want. Now, $45, you're getting everything other than, I think, maybe a weapon or two that you might be missing. Now I have so many Valaverse weapons that it's really not that big of a deal. But I love the wings. I love the red translucent. I love the fact that it does fit with the cavalry figure here. I can't remember his name right offhand. It's going to drive me nuts. But I also love that when you look at it, it does look like Hordak and all of his troops. So it goes with the that PowerCon exclusivity that makes sense of what you want. And I think he really did a really good job of creating this. So anyway, if you want it, pick it up now. It is available on the Valaverse website. All right, so there you have it. That is my review of the Valaverse Action Force Swarm Horde PowerCon 2023 exclusive. God, so much to say. Big mouthful, and I know that's what she said. I said that already. But again, I like the figure, and that's just me. So anyway, if you do need one, if you're a completist, if you love just army building these things, it's there for you. Pick it up. Valaverse.com. I don't know how long. I don't know if he's going to be restocking them or not. So pick it up right away. $45. Not a bad price for everything that you're going to get with it. Okay, so anyway, before I leave, you know the deal. Take a second. Facebook group page, Punks with Toys. I'm going to have all my pictures of PowerCon up there after my live stream. So Tuesday, that'll be up there. So check it out. Punks with Toys. Don't forget the social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, a Punk with Toys. And last but not least, before you leave, take a second and subscribe, like, and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop another Action Force video. And look, I got all these weapons over here. I'm going to be doing them this week. You're going to want to check them out. They're not available yet, but if you're a PowerCon, you're able to get it, and I got them. So hell, why not do the review of it? This is me just rambling on. Don't go anywhere, okay? Please don't go anywhere. You like this content, check it up here. I'm going to put another Valaverse Action Force. I'll put a Swarm or a Scarab up here, and then right here will be the playlist of all the Action Force figures. So if you are wondering if you should get into it, this is where you're going to find out. Take care.